A rainy morning outside. Crestbridge Academy, 1998. 12-year-old Jaden Carter stood on the marble steps of Crestbridge Academy, clutching a crumpled envelope of recommendation and his mother's hand. His clothes were clean but faded, and his shoes, the center of every glance, were scuffed, with a torn sole peeking out. Inside, wealthier kids passed by in crisp uniforms and name-brand sneakers. When the admissions counselor arrived, she glanced at the boy's file, then at his feet. "Mr. Carter," she said flatly, "I'm afraid we have strict standards for appearance. Crestbridge holds a reputation, and presentation matters." Jaden didn't understand much of what she said, but he understood the look, the tone, and how tightly his mother squeezed his hand as the woman said they'd contact them later. They never did. That night, Jaden asked, "Is it because of my shoes?" His mother, choking on pride and sorrow, said, "It's because they forgot what truly matters." The rejection burned into Jaden's spirit, but instead of letting it break him, he let it build him. He worked tirelessly, studying at public libraries, fixing broken electronics for neighbors, and learning computer coding from borrowed books. By the time he graduated high school, he had built a small online app that helped students track their assignments. It went viral in local school districts. Then came investors. Then came innovation. By age 25, Jaden Carter was the CEO of EduSpark Technologies, a revolutionary education platform now used in over 30 countries. He never wore expensive suits or flaunted his wealth. But inside, a quiet fire still burned, not of revenge but purpose. One day, a headline caught his eye. Jaden stared at the photo. Same brick building, same marble steps. He picked up the phone. "I want to buy the school," he told his legal team. "Why?" they asked. He paused. "Because I remember a boy who stood in the rain, thinking worn shoes meant a worn soul." The old board members were skeptical as Jaden entered, now a composed man in modest attire. They didn't recognize him at first. Then he placed a dusty pair of shoes on the table. "These," he said, "were mine the day you told me I wasn't good enough." The room fell silent. "But I'm not here to settle scores," he continued. "I'm here to settle hope." He outlined a plan: transform Crestbridge into a tuition-free academy for underprivileged students, fully funded by the EduSpark Foundation, merit-based entry, mentorship programs, tech hubs, and most importantly, a culture that valued heart over labels. The stage was filled with students of every background, kids whose stories mirrored his own. One girl wore shoes with a hole patched by tape. Jaden smiled at her. She smiled back. No shame in her eyes. He stepped up to speak. "When I was 12, I was told I didn't fit here. But the truth is, I outgrew this place long before I ever stepped in. Not because I was better, but because I believed we all deserved the chance to grow." The crowd rose in applause. Inside the newly remodeled Crestbridge Academy, a framed quote hangs by the entrance. Beneath it, a display case. Inside it, one pair of old worn-out shoes. Here is the continuation and completion of the story: boy rejected from private school for his shoes. Years later, he buys the school, bringing it to full emotional and narrative closure. The story made headlines. Reporters gathered at the front steps of Crestbridge. Jaden Carter stood beside a group of newly admitted scholarship students, some of them wearing thrifted shoes, many holding laptops provided by his foundation. A reporter asked, "Mr. Carter, what would you say to the admissions officer who once turned you away?" Jaden took a long breath. "I'd say, thank you. That moment taught me more than rejection. It taught me who I wanted to be. Someone who opens doors, not closes them." Weeks later, while touring the old administration wing, a janitor found a dusty drawer behind a filing cabinet. Inside was a stack of recommendation letters, and among them, one for Jaden Carter, dated 1998. The head of admissions, now retired, had written, "Come." Jaden read it quietly. He didn't flinch. He smiled gently. "They were right," he whispered. I didn't fit their image, but I changed what that image means. Jaden walked his mother through the halls of Crestbridge, now transformed into a vibrant, welcoming place, filled with inspiration boards, mentorship lounges, and free-access libraries. In the new cafeteria, she saw a student, a young boy, clearly shy, wearing old sneakers and scribbling code on a napkin. "Remind you of anyone?" she asked. Jaden laughed. "I'll make sure that boy never hears, 'You don't belong here.'" She placed a hand over his. "You already did." In a final address during the school's annual Inspiration Summit, Jaden stood on stage before hundreds of students, educators, and guests. "Jaden, some of you are here because someone believed in you. Some of you are here in spite of others not believing. But here's what matters: you are here, not because of your shoes, not because of your name, but because of your will. Remember this: success isn't loud. It doesn't always wear shiny shoes or drive fancy cars. Sometimes it walks in quietly, carrying a dream, and leaves the door open for others." On the school lawn, next to a tree planted the year of Jaden's rejection, a bronze sculpture now stands. It's of a pair of worn-out sneakers, cracks and all, cast in metal. The plaque reads, "Donated by Jaden Carter, Crestbridge Academy alumnus, Class of Hope."